Man, this fucking lighting is terrible. Let's try it from this angle. All right. The accomplishments of Homo erectus are remarkable, the stuff of genius and of epic stories. They survived for 2 to perhaps 2.5 million years. This alone makes them an extraordinary people. In comparison, anatomically modern humans like you and I have been around some 300,000 years. This is only 10 to 12% of the time the Australopithecines lived, and it's doubtful that we will ever exceed their long tenure. More likely, at some point over the next 2 million years, modern humans will either be gone, made extinct by a supervolcano event, global ecosystem collapse, a microbial plague, or maybe a good old fashioned asteroid strike. Or a more hopeful scenario would see us evolving into something significantly different, perhaps a human machine hybrid. In the future, a human might even be all machine with digital consciousness. It's also possible that we will remain completely organic but evolve into a bizarre spacefaring species with an assortment of new traits necessary for life beyond Earth. This might sound radical, but keep in mind that 2 million years is a long time for our genus. The rapid pace of our cultural evolution might drive our biology into strange new places. Homo erectus were prehistory's great inventors and trailblazers. These were the first, or among the first, hominins known to make the use of stone tools to control fire, to cook food, to build significant shelters, and perhaps most impressive of all, to expand beyond Africa and live throughout Eurasia in many different and challenging environments. Homo erectus were our critical ancestors, the game changers who put us on a new and special path. They took humankind from frightened prey to apex predator, or close to it. Unfortunately, entire cultures don't fossilize. Only some tangible bits and pieces of them do, and those tend to be extremely difficult to find. As a result, there are many remaining uncertainties about Homo erectus. We don't know details about any possible art, religion, language, or political hierarchy some of them may have had. How did we get here? I would think that all thoughtful modern people would want to contemplate this question as a matter of routine throughout life. The answer matters today because we carry in us much of our past, from our physical abilities and limitations to our psychological desires and fears. And no answer to this question can be near competent or complete if it doesn't include the story of Homo erectus. Yet, it has been my experience that most people know little or nothing about them. What in the fuck? Anyway, every person alive today owes Homo erectus a debt of gratitude for not only surviving and pushing those all important genes forward, but also for ushering in and firmly establishing the survival by culture lifestyle that would become the basis for human existence. Their brains were only about 2/3 the size of modern humans' brains, but these were no simpletons. As hunter gatherers scavengers, Homo erectus, more than any other people, transformed humankind from reactive to proactive, from instinctive to intellectual. They were the first to cease cowering in the dark and hiding up in the branches of tall trees. Homo erectus were the first people to own the night. Homo erectus were problem solvers who overcame immense challenges. As mentioned above, according to the best evidence, they were the first hominins to control fire, cook food, and build substantial shelters. Their primary tool, the Herculean stone hand axe, was in use for more than 1 million years and helped drive the human revolution. What? Why I feel like it's something in my motherfucking mouth? Am I tripping? If I'm not, let me start tripping. Where were we? Oh, yes. These pear-shaped multi-purpose tools had a 6 or 7-inch cutting edge and were used to work with wood and plants and to butcher animals that had been hunted or scavenged. Some archaeologists speculate that they may have held symbolic significance too, perhaps as early art or even a form of currency. What the fuck are you doing? Who is that? Dade B, is that you? Rosie. Rosie! Y'all motherfuckers are rude. You see, I'm trying to read to the people. Yeah. Acheulean hand axes seem to have been crafted with more attention to symmetry and aesthetics than would have been necessary for practical purposes. Therefore, they might have even been expressions of individuality, or even used as tangible symbols for sexual selection. The better one is at tool making. The more attractive one was a potential mate. Homo erectus pulled off what is arguably the greatest adventure of all time. Over many thousands of years, on foot and perhaps by raft as well, small independent groups of Homo erectus migrated beyond the African continent to settle vast stretches of Europe and Southern Asia. They reached as far down to what is today Indonesia. Prolific tool makers and explorers, they endured for an incredibly long time. Think of it this way. The whole of civilization, say 10,000 years, accounts for less than 1% of the time Homo erectus spent walking the earth. We cannot know our species without being aware of these remarkable and successful prehistoric people who came before us and did so much. One of the most fascinating and important questions paleoanthropologists grapple with is how many origins modern humans had and where it all happened. The out of Africa versus multi-regional origin debate raged for decades. In question was whether modern humans evolved in Africa and then spread throughout the world, or evolved separately in Africa and in Eurasia from Homo erectus populations that had previously dispersed from Africa. Today, the out of Africa model looks like the winner due to the strong fossil and genetic evidence that support it. It is not settled, but most experts today agree that anatomically modern humans most likely emerged in Africa at least 300,000 years ago. And then, from about 120,000 to 60,000 years ago, they began walking, wading, and rafting their way around the globe in a series of migrations spanning many generations over many millennia. Science never sleeps, however. There are many gaps in the evidence trail, and more discoveries keep coming, so this remains a fluid story. An important question being asked today, for example, is whether we had just one origin in Africa or multiple origins on that continent. In just the last 2 decades, fossil finds in southern and northern Africa have complicated the old timeline. Anatomically modern humans may have evolved independently in different parts of Africa before merging together as one species. Yo, this is some good ass shit, son. Don't ask what it is. I swear to God, something is on my mouth. Anyway. For most of human existence, people were nomadic hunters and gatherers, guided by a practical need to eat and drink. They stayed put if there was food and moved if there wasn't. And then, as mentioned briefly in Chapter 3, humankind began the momentous transition to a new survival strategy. Someone, perhaps 10 or 15,000 years ago, or maybe earlier, did something remarkable. She or he pushed a seed into the dirt with purpose. That person had a conscious plan for a specific plant to sprout from that seed. With patience and a little human help along the way, maybe in the form of watering and weeding, it would germinate and grow to be harvested and eaten later. This is an idealized description, of course. It is not likely that there was a single inventor of agriculture. It probably happened in multiple places at different times. Remember, these were highly intelligent humans with brains as large as or larger than ours today. There was no doubt that they had sufficient brain power, plus plenty of awareness of the natural world around them to figure out the connection between seeds and plants. Around the same time, some people, maybe the same people, in some cases, built new relationships with one or more animal species. Oh, wow. The process of domestication, not just taming, but fundamentally changing animals to serve human needs, became increasingly popular over the last 10,000 years or so as well. To be clear, the transition from hunting and gathering to farming and pastoralism was uneven and occurred over thousands of years. There is firm evidence that as early as 11 or 12,000 years ago, people in the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East were modifying local plants. This was thousands of years before there is clear archaeological evidence of domesticated grains. In 2017, an international team of scientists from Harvard Medical School, the Hungarian Academy of Sciences, and the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History published results of their work in Nature, showing genetic evidence of Eurasian hunter-gatherer populations coexisting and slowly assimilating with farming populations in the same regions. There was continuous gene flow between them over many centuries. Regardless of the details, these events were of profound importance for humankind. The first groups of people who ceased their wanderings, settled down, and invested their time, energy, and resources into a few plant and animal species did more than anyone else has ever done to build the civilization we now inhabit. No invention, no great war, no system of government, not the internet, or even written language changed us the way agriculture did. An important question to consider is whether or not we should be entirely thankful that it happened. Did the first framers of prehistory do a big favor for all the many billions of people who followed them? There was a time when the answer to that question would have been clear and obvious to everyone. After all, who in their right mind would choose the constant struggles of scavenging dangerous new lands and depending on wild nature for everything? What is that compared with the glories and comforts of civilization? Thanks to the work of archaeologists, we can now learn that the consequences of agriculture are more complex than many of us were led to believe. At some point during my childhood, I was taught that the agricultural revolution was more than a shift in food strategy for humanity. It was nothing less than our salvation, our critical step out of the jungle and up toward the gleaming civilization on a hill. According to my middle school teachers, planting crops and raising goats, pigs, and cows elevated us from the miserable existence of half-starved, desperate scavengers to well-fed farmers. Life was so good and food so plentiful once agriculture came along that the human population soared. Moreover, people now had so many calories and so much free time that they could finally get busy writing, doing math, inventing great gadgets, and building the modern world that we now have the good fortune to live in. But is this understanding of the agricultural revolution the whole truth? One of the more remarkable revelations from archaeology is that human health declined when people transitioned from hunting and gathering to agriculture. Life expectancy did not go up, it fell. But this doesn't seem to make sense. Agriculture ignited a population boom, one that continues to this day, and it sets us up to develop remarkably complex and creative societies. So, how was it bad for us? Clearly, farming increased human numbers and human survivability. Settling down in one place to depend on planted crops and domesticated animals was positive, and that it allowed for food surpluses and the storing of food. I swear to God, what is that on my lip? One of these hairs, dog. One of these hairs is fuck with me, man. Like, it's annoying me bad, son. Like, I can't stop. Fuck! I'm getting mad, bro. Anyway, we almost done. At some point during my childhood, I was taught that the agricultural revolution was more than a shift in food strategy for humankind. It was nothing less than our salvation, our critical step out of the jungle and up toward the gleaming civilization on a hill. According to my middle school teachers, one of the more remarkable revelations from archaeology is that human health declined when people transitioned from hunting and gathering to agriculture. Life expectancy did not go up, it fell, but this doesn't seem to make sense. Agriculture ignited a population boom, one that continues to this day, and it sets us up to develop remarkably complex and creative societies. So, how is it bad for us? Clearly, farming increased human numbers and human survivability. Settling down in one place to depend on planted crops and domesticated animals was positive, and that it allowed for food surpluses and the storing of food. This meant that many more people could eat and live at least long enough to reproduce. But the existence of more people making more babies is not the only measure of progress or aspect of life that matters to us. What about health, happiness, leisure time, security, and lifespan? Don't forget, evolution is an unintelligent, indifferent consequence of an environment influencing genes within a population. There is no concern or accommodation for comfort and happiness if those things don't impact gene transmission rates. Evolution doesn't care about you. Pushing DNA forward one more generation is evolution's only measure of success or failure. The rise of agriculture and animal domestication may have been an evolutionary boost for Homo sapiens because it elevated the quantity of people. Regarding the quantity of life, the quality of life, however, it has been a mixed bag. It has a picture of a dude, like an early dude. It says, the human way for almost all of human existence. People have lived in small tribal communities. Civilization, with its farming, urban environments, and thousands or millions of people sharing relatively close living spaces, is very new. Civilization accounts for less than 1% of the approximate 2.5 million years of human existence. Interesting. I need another cup of coffee. What's up with y'all, man? What's up, Kalasia? And the whining has started. Delicious. I love it. Who in here whining? Picture of a dude. Don't smoke. There is some whining in here. What the hell? Hell no. More I know, right? I do need more coffee. Roland, what's going on, son? John does his dad. They thinks there's something on his mouth, but it's just the weed and cotton mouth. Nah, dog. I swear to God, it's like a hair or something, like a patch of hair. It's like not acting right, and that shit keep like curling up on my lip, and I keep thinking there's something on my lip, and it's just that fucking hair, man. But anywho, America is great. Is that weed good? First of all, no, sir. And secondly, yes, it is. Like, it's fucking, this shit is fucking top tier, son. Top tier, B. Trading the typical highly diverse hunter-gatherer diet for a very limited one came with a price. Biotechnology expert and plant researcher Dade Murphy, check that out, offers this observation. The more restricted diet of many farming cultures led to a series of vitamin deficiencies that severely impacted on their well-being and lifespan. A typical early farmer ate a lot more starchy carbohydrates and less animal protein than a typical hunter-gatherer did. The cost of having a more consistent food source meant a significant drop in nutrition quality. By one measure, this resulted in a 22% reduction in overall health. The farming life made people shorter, too. The average male hunter-gatherer's height during the Paleolithic era was just under 5 feet 10 inches. In comparison, on average, late Neolithic male farmers were a little over 5 feet 3 inches. Settled agriculturalists saw a dip in life expectancy compared with their hunter-gatherer predecessors as well. A study of Eastern Mediterranean Paleolithic hunter-gatherers found that males lived on average 35.4 years and females 30 years. About a late Neolithic period, when virtually everyone in that region was dependent on agriculture, life expectancies fell to 33. 29.1 for males, 29.2 for females. Even as late as the 19th century, life expectancies had inched up only to 40 and 38.4 in that same region. Today's average lifespans are significantly longer than prehistoric hunter-gatherers because of very recent advances in evidence-based medicine, not as a result of the mass consumption of wheat, rice, and livestock. To be fair, medical science might never have developed to the extent that it has without the agricultural revolution taking place. But our present longer lifespans certainly were a long time coming, and the kind of comfort and security that many people in wealthy societies are accustomed to today are still far from universal. Many millions of people suffer through short lives here in the modern world, lives that would seem in many ways to be much less desirable than that of a successful hunter-gatherer 20 or 30,000 years ago. Which life would you choose for yourself if forced to pick? A malnutrition person lost in the worst of extreme poverty within some developing nation today? Or one of a tight-knit band of hunter-gatherers in a prehistoric world teeming with resources? Let's examine some ways in which the agricultural revolution was detrimental to the health of the human populations it supported. Deadly diseases have been a consistent problem for people ever since farming and pastoralism became popular survival strategies. Those diseases, capable of infecting humans and some wild or domesticated animals, are called zoonoses. Zoonosis. Oh, okay. I was about to say, what the fuck? When large numbers of humans began living in close, intimate settings with domesticated animals, zoonotic diseases flourished. It was an ideal environment for these diseases because humans, goats, pigs, horses, and cows are all relatively closely related as mammals and therefore provide similar enough host environments for microbes to make the evolutionary jump between species. It also helps that most bacteria and viruses are capable of evolving at extremely fast rates and therefore can exploit new opportunities in relatively quick order. The toll zoonotic illnesses have claimed in human suffering and death over the last several thousand years is so immense as to be incomprehensible, and the carnage continues today. According to a report by the International Livestock Research Institute, an estimated 2.2 million people die each year due to just 13 zoonoses. That's a rate of 22 million deaths per decade, 220 million deaths per century, and 2.2 billion deaths per millennia. Those same 13 diseases cause an additional 2.4 billion illnesses every year. Approximately 60% of all current human diseases are zoonotic, and around 75% of all new or emerging diseases are as well. One study found that 20% of all human illness and death in the least developed nations was caused by zoonoses. The reality is that slow suffering and fast deaths are as much a consequence and legacy of agriculture as anything else. Jared Diamond, an ecologist, geographer, and biologist, is the author of several notable books, including Guns, Germs, and Steel, Collapse, and The World Until Yesterday. He was called humankind's agricultural revolution the worst mistake in humans' history. Diamond rejects farming as a glorious leap forward because he believes it has failed and continues to fail at providing enough people a better way of life. He points to the staggering levels of poverty, malnutrition, disease, and suffering that are still common today. Much of it may be out of sight or ignored by many of the more fortunate members of contemporary humanity, but it's there. It's happening every day. See, what this dude doesn't seem to understand is capitalism is the problem, motherfucker. It's not that we don't have enough food. Okay. It's that capitalism is like, yeah, if those motherfuckers can't pay for it, then they just can't have it. So Capitalism is indifferent to life. Okay. Capitalism has one goal: profit. That's it. Why did I get started on that? Now I'm all like on that shit. Let me pause for the cause, dog. I need to get some coffee. Let me put on my slippers. Slippers are on, bro. All right, let's go get some coffee. Shit. Whoops. Oh, fuck. I'm old, dog. That me. You sleep. You wake up, motherfucker. Tuya! Why you looking at me? Look at her. Look at her looking at me and shit. Let me turn the light on. Start this. Look at yourself. Look. Don't spill, and I don't know why I do it though. Okay, it didn't do it this time, but it normally do. Just wait for that to do its thing. Yeah, wait for that to do its goddamn thing. I mean, Petunia P. Oh, let me turn this light off. Is that better? It don't seem better. It seems worse, actually. Let me turn this one off. And this one on. Yeah, that's a little better. You know what I mean? Let me turn this light on, too. Let me close this. This 657 Petunia. So I mean it's really 658, you know what I'm saying? Said shit. Snickers coffee mate, son. Shut up, Petunia. You're always trying to get in the video. You ain't a content creator. It's dark as fuck. Whatever. I want my fucking coffee, guys. What the fuck? Petunia P. Petunia. Petunia, what you doing? Where you going? You know what? You about to. This is a good thing I have on pants because this one lady was like, she said I be chasing y'all wearing shorts.
Yeah, that's her right there. Motherfucking Tara Lynn was like, I be picturing Dade chasing his cats with shorts. I'm like, and I was just chasing you, but I had on pants. So you're not a prophet. I don't know what to tell you. Lil P, what you doing under there, dog? Louie. Fucking Louie, dog. Lil P. You see your mom? Lil P, get Petunia P. She rubbing her face on the motherfucking. Get her, Louie. She invading your space. She invading my space. What, man? You close as fuck. Look at your butthole. What's up? What is it? Ayasha? Katori? What up with you, son? I'm already high as hell. You, son, I'm finna get high again. No, let me get this motherfucker right here, son. I thought I had a lighter here and shit. Ha! Look what Donnie B did. He done tore my motherfucking curtains up. And you let him do it, motherfucker. It was you, Louie. Don't look away. Right. You know it was you. What kind of mom is you? The fuck is going on around here? Louis P, you look like you couldn't look less interested. Like, hell, Satan P Sway beats in this bitch. Thanks, JF. I got that motherfucker on sale. It was already after Halloween, but you know, that's when the sales go into effect. So thanks, man. Thank you, Calasia and Roland. You know what I mean? That's only two of them, though. I don't know where the fuck Rosie and Donnie B is. Donnie B! All right, he in the room. I forgot about that and shit. There we go. Donnie B! Wake up, dog. I said wake up, motherfucker. I'm just playing. Where Rosie at? Where Rosie at? You know where she at. Why are we always going this way? I don't walk around here. What the fuck? Oh, there go Rosie. She in here hiding that shit. Rosie. Rosie. You're on candid camera. Don't worry about your hair. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? That's not even a choice. M&M's or Mega Stuff Oreos. Tara Lynn, you all the way gone, dog. You knocked loose in the mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Ain't that right, Rosie? Tara Lynn is knocked loose in the mind, son. Rosie! Anyway, look at my books. Y'all motherfuckers need to read. Readers are leaders. Ain't that right? For 2 years. Wait, let me get. Hold on. This is better. This is better. I'm in the hallway of my small house. This some fire ass shit. I'm too ADD to read. Thanks, Ray. Definitely gotta have yourself a personal library. Oh, for sure, son. For sure. I gotta stay on top of this Christian shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure that my biblical exegesis is on point. You know what I mean? So I be reading all this shit. Right now, I only be reading like when it come to like biblical historians, or what would you call them? Like, well, yeah, we'll just say that, like biblical historians. Like Bart Ehrman, he the only one I read so far. I read like she. Hold on, let me go back in here. Shut the motherfucker. Yeah. Like they're gonna Malleus Maleficarum, the God and the folly of faith, Jesus mything in action. Why I'm an atheist, not a theist. Atheism in the case against Christ. Think 50 reasons people give for believing in a God. Godless. The myth of a Christian nation. 30 arguments against the existence of gods. Atheist universe. Heaven and hell. Sam Harris's The Moral Landscape. A universe from nothing. Lawrence Krauss. The God Delusion. The Blind Watchmaker. Fucking, oh wait, here go my Bart Ehrman shits. Jesus, before the Gospels, misquoting Jesus, God's problem, Sam Harris's Free Will, that's Christopher Hitchens's God is Not Great, The Selfish Gene. You know what I'm saying? What's your favorite band? What the fuck? I don't have one. I like too many, man, to have a favorite. I don't see how anyone has a favorite. Like, if you got a favorite, that means you like limiting yourself. Because there's so many out there. There's so many songs to choose from. I can't decide on what my favorite song is or band. Best I can do is tell you, who did I listen to the most today? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the best I can give you. And that doesn't really mean that I like that band any more than any other band. It just might be, it's all mood, dog. It's all fucking, it's all fucking vibes. Like today at work, I was listening to a bunch of womb rot. If you ain't heard of womb rot, check that shit out. They like, it's kind of like cattle decapitation. If you fuck with cattle decapitation, it's kind of like that, but with like hip hop. I don't know how to describe it, bro. They like heavy as fuck on that growling and shit, where it's like you can't understand none of the words because it's just so. Yeah, I mean, I can't do the shit. But like they also be like rapping and shit. It's kind of dope. So I would listen to Womb Rot. That's kind of who I've been listening to today. That's who I've been listening to the most today. And the other day, probably someone else. But today, it was a Womb Rot today. Womb Rot day. So. Womb Rot and like I wrestled a bear once. You know what I'm saying? I was listening to them today. The Spirit Box. You know what I'm saying? Louis. He ain't gonna get up. Louis, dog, get up. Louis. You gonna get up, dog? You don't give a fuck? Louis don't give a fuck. You're like, spin me in the chair, Dad. Blam. Louis. He in my seat. Anyway, man, I'm about to go. Thanks for watching, y'all. And if you're a Christian, fuck your God. Okay?